like, because it's yeah, we're gonna get into that here in a second. But yeah, he's definitely in over his head. Brother Roman continues, it's all content until it starts to hit your home financially and then physically. Yeah. Industries are still in control by more powerful people. So there is a line you can't cross. Yeah. I mean, it's always like I tell people all the time, like the 1% runs the world, bro. It is what it is. They definitely run America. They run our political system. And that's just how it is, man. You know, I was talking to a good friend of mine the other day. We had this conversation. We've had this conversation going for 2 years now, a little over 2 years. Nah, longer than that. I think it's over 3 years now. We've been talking about this stuff politically. And I was just kind of telling him, like, hey, bro, this is how it works, man. You know what I mean? And he just would get so frustrated. I'm like, hey, man, this is just how it works, man. Like, there's no one in American politics gets to the White House that's not bought, paid for, and or approved by the 1%. No one gets to the White House unless they are backed by the money. No one. It ain't gonna happen. They won't get there. You know. So and I got my buddy, and I got a bunch of friends. A lot of them don't want to accept that. Well, there's these people over here, and they start dropping names, and I'm like, okay, well, that name used to be this person. You know, like you look at someone like AOC. I like AOC. I love her passion. She did a great thing getting in there. She slid under the radar, but guess what? The 1% got her ass now. And she gonna do what she's told. She's gonna follow orders, or she's gonna get out of DC. Because you gotta have their money to stay. The only way to, and it's, I know I slide into politics, but a lot of people just hate hearing that. I'm like, bro, it's rigged. Like, it doesn't matter who goes. It matters who gets in there. But there's only so much they can do. And it was Barack Obama's 2 terms proved that to me. There's only so much they can do. And I think Barack Obama was Barack Obama, in my opinion, was definitely the best modern president in American history, possibly ever. I mean, going back to, you have to go all the way back to, God, you got to go back past Nixon, right? You're going to have to go back to FDR. I would say Obama was the best president since FDR, and then you have that conversation of who was better, Franklin Delano Roosevelt or Barack Obama. You have to have that conversation, and it's a close one. It's a close one. I would probably say FDR is better, but my point being, Barack was that powerful of a president. Another guy, literally the black sheep, came from out of nowhere. He got there, did a good job, but he only did so much. They only let him go so far. Think about that. Brother Ron was like, Fresh gave him a reality check that scared him. Yeah, because I didn't see the rest of this. I just saw this one, and I'm gonna have to go on the Rumble and pull up the whole thing and watch this whole after hours. Brother Dino, 2 Ukrainian women left Fresh and Fit in tears with Myron telling them Russia is winning the war. When is Myron getting his info Russia? Maybe. Yeah, man. Like, yeah, Myron's take on Ukraine is very different. He and I've talked about that briefly. You know what I mean? I would love to sit down and have that one day I'm gonna be able to sit down and talk to him. At best, in Ukraine, you could say that it's at a stalemate at this point, because America is kind of wobbling on committing the weapons and the I guess the support needed to stop Russia. But I don't see Russia taking Ukraine. I mean, it just, I don't know what Putin's up to. Like, Russians are sick of it. You can't get enough soldiers. They've run out of tanks. They're trying to get their money together so they can buy equipment from other countries. But America just proved how potent our military is. Our tech is incredible. So, yeah, man, you're right. Some people just believe what they want to believe, man. They believe what they want to believe. 3-leg saying Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, man. Man, his administration, bro, like he goes down in history as one of the worst presidents actually in modern time. You look at Jimmy Carter, because you think about like the oil embargo and gas prices. Jimmy Carter will always be known for that. It was Jimmy Carter, his administration, when gas went over $1. Like, dude, I'm an old guy. I was a kid when that happened. The grown-ups lost they lost their minds when gas went over $1, right? And people couldn't get gas anywhere. It was a bad time in America. And then that's when the Ayatollah and his people took over in Iran. We had that failed Delta mission to go rescue hostages. They overran the embassy. Jimmy Carter wanted to get those people out, sanctioned a mission to get them out, and that mission failed because of logistic issues. I think it boiled down to the wrong type of filters in the helos, and then of course the pilots didn't have the training that they needed and the tech that they needed to land in the desert, because when you land in the desert, a lot of dust flies up, and the helicopters collided. Those were the helicopters that had the extraction team. I think that was Delta that was on board those helicopters. Meanwhile, the Rangers had secured, like the real Rangers, the regiment had secured an airport for the exfil. So the plan was Delta was gonna go in, snatch the hostages out. They were gonna exfil to this airport and fly out of the airport. But the Rangers had taken the airport already. We took it. Don't take my word for this. Y'all can look this up. The Rangers had secured the airport in a foreign land, and actually engaged a few Iranian soldiers and dealt with them, right, as Rangers do. And once they got word that the mission got scrubbed, they actually took some Iranians with them. They had it was a bus of Iranians that they had to take with them, and they left the country. We basically kidnapped a busload of Iranians. Ronald Reagan came into office. I think one of the last things that Jimmy Carter was able to do was negotiate a release for the prisoners, the hostages from the embassy in Iran. Ronald Reagan came into office, and the rest was the rest. But Jimmy Carter really was like one of the worst presidents, I would argue, in modern history. And good to see you, Three Legs saying. Brother, if Ukraine is drafting older men and females, they're losing the war. You got to understand, to my knowledge, there's still a lot of foreign fighters over there. So I don't know. And then they were able to push the Russians back, although they couldn't push them completely out of Ukraine. They did move the lines. We're going to see how that plays out. As long as they're being supported and supplied by United States, I don't see them losing that conflict. But we'll see. But to say that Russia is winning, man, I don't know, bro. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. And there's definitely going to be a conversation we're going to have on Downrange Podcast, because we're going to see what happens with, Ukraine, especially if Donald Trump wins the election, and that's a very real possibility. What happens moving forward? What is the Biden administration going to do about Gaza, supporting Israel, and the broader issues in the Middle East? Like everyone who's against Israel right now, to my knowledge, are being, for the most part, supported by Iran. American politicians, these professional politicians, have been wanting to go after Iran since the 80s. This is an opportunity for them to do it. A lot of Republican hawks are already screaming, let's go. A lot of Democrats are like, no, we don't want to go. That's like old school American politics right there. Who knows what the Biden administration is going to do? Biden is more hawkish than it is Dove, so he's definitely going to do something. But again, who is his point man on this, and how much of this is Biden actually able to absorb and kind of make command decisions on? I got so many issues on that too. Again, that's more of a political thing. We'll pick that up. We're going to talk about this tomorrow for sure. We're going to talk about, what's going on in Ukraine, Middle East, Biden, Trump. We definitely got to talk about that. Right, Brother Diner, like, yeah, Russia's losing 800 to 1,000 men a day. And that's, I don't even think that counts the men who are, surrendering to the Ukrainians. You got a lot of guys. You got Russian men who are leaving Russia. I mean, that whole thing, I said this from the very beginning. Putin should have taken Ukraine in less than 48 hours if his military was as powerful as the whole world thought it was. Remember, at the time, Russia was the second most powerful military on the planet. It was us, Russia, China. The fact that Russia couldn't do that, and all the issues they had with all of their equipment and all of the corruption and all the stuff that's going on, it's like, yeah, man, I doubt if Russia could beat the Afghans, man. At this point, the way that they're doing business is, I doubt it. So, you know, Ukraine is fighting for their home, and there's all kind of problems in Ukraine. Don't get me wrong, bro. I'm not advocating for Ukrainians. Like they got a lot of corruption. There's a lot of stuff going on there. But as far as fighting the Russians, I think they're doing a pretty bang up job for who they are. There's no way that this should be this close. And Brother Diner's like, oh my God, watching the Bradley destroy Russia's best tanks, like an unfair fight. Yeah, man. And Bradleys are just armored personnel carriers. Like American tech versus Russia tech, I mean, bro, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, Brother Roman. Historically speaking, wars usually boost economics, technology development, and human genetics. But I may be incorrect. I mean, war is big business, man. Just ask Halliburton, bro. Just ask Boeing. You know what I mean? Just it's big business, bro. When those orders come in for, you know what I mean, tanks or armored personnel carriers or, you know, these armored vehicles, it's big money. It's big money. But the kind of wars that I think you're describing is like the global type stuff, when nation on nation. And we haven't had one of those in a long time. Like you look at what's going on with Ukraine and Russia, that's still small. You know, you're talking about like if America and Iran get at it, yeah, you're gonna talk about something big. But that'll be quick too. No nation can stand up to the United States military, bro. It's just a fact. If the politicians unleash the military, just let them do their thing, there's no one that can stand up to the United States military, including China. We're just too good, even with our problems, even with the recruiting issues, even with not finding people, you know what I mean, who can serve. Bro, no one can stop America right now, man. We spend too much money on military stuff, man. You know what I mean, Brother Dino? Russia is emptying prisons and picking up immigrants to go fight. Yeah, I mean, this is like the last, in my opinion, I said this before, the last battle of the Cold War. This is it. Like this is America fighting the last of the Cold War kind of thing. And America wants to get rid of Putin. You want to talk about someone else who's old and maybe he has some sort of health issues, and Putin is really on the ropes right now. Like that guy's literally taking out all of his opposition. The Russian people aren't backing him. I mean, if he's going to do something in Ukraine, he's better hurry up and do it. You know, and maybe he's looking like, hey, if we can get Trump in office, you know, that will help him do whatever he's doing. It's like, okay, at least, you know, then maybe they'll stop, you know, supplying the Ukrainians with equipment, with, you know, bombs, bullets, and Band-Aids, and, you know, intel. We'll see. But, you know, and like I said, that's another conversation. Like, even if Trump got into the White House, what would that mean for American foreign policy? What would that mean for the American military? Are you talking about a guy who has problems with sensitive documents? Would they even allow him or his administration to have these documents outside of certain areas? I mean, who knows what might happen, man? That whole Trump thing is like crazy. And Brother Romy, the USA didn't do anything about that one Iranian bomb, and now there's that issue in Jordan strike. But we'll talk about it tomorrow. Yeah, let's talk about that tomorrow for sure. That, you know, you got 3 U.S. soldiers lost their lives in that suicide drone attack. I guess I shouldn't say that word, the S word, in that drone attack. And I want to say 32. It was 32 that were injured, some critically. So that number might go up, man. It is what it is. Brother Vikings in the building. What's good, fam? Russia doesn't take foes fast. They always play the long game. But here's the thing, though. The Russians don't have the Russian people are not happy with this Ukraine situation. They at first they were behind it. They were listening to the propaganda, but now they're not with it. And you even have people inside of Russia talking about it like we need to stop this. So yeah, Putin has his issues, bro. Casual Germans in the building. Was good, fam. It's like not only that, their Brother Dinosaur, but their tanks without blast shields is hilarious. Yeah, man. Like the tires didn't work, their weapons don't work, their body armor is fake. I mean, they got all kind of issues over there. Yeah, you talking about the blast doors. Yeah, like the reactive armor. none of the stuff that they're supposed to have. They're afraid to fly their their best aircraft. They're afraid, they don't have any more tanks. Like, they don't have any state-of-the-art stuff. They're using older tanks. Russia's got a problem, bro. We definitely gonna have to talk about this tomorrow. We're gonna have to talk about this tomorrow. I didn't know so many people wanted to really, get that out there. We're gonna have to talk about this tomorrow for sure. Sending prisoners of war, what a great idea to lessen the overpopulation of males in prison. Yeah, like early on, they had the Wagner group would go into the prisons and get prisoners to come out and fight, and they'll say, hey, you can come fight with us for X amount of time. When you're done, you don't have to go back to prison. You can earn your freedom. And a lot of those prisoners stopped doing it because they realized they weren't coming home. Like, those guys were just being used as cannon fodder. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. And they used to do that here in America, man, back in the Vietnam era, man, Korea era. Go to war, go to jail, man. You get your draft notice, they'll lock you up if you refuse to go. A lot of people went to Canada, or people who could afford it, they would have doctors say that they have problems, like Donald Trump, bone spurs. You know what I mean? You have people, and Trump is not the only one. There's tons of people who didn't go to Vietnam. But you have people who would get locked up or get arrested for stuff, and the judge is like, well, we can lock you up or you can join the military, which you can go to Vietnam or you can go to jail. And a lot of people opted to join the military. So that was a big thing back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. And then they stopped for a while. And I know some people in today's military who were like, yeah, man, I was facing a judge, and the judge said, join the military or go do this bid. And a lot of guys were like, okay, I'll go to the military. And it worked out for them. I know some guys that really worked out for them. You know what I mean? It's like casual term, Russian roulette is a bold move. Yeah, bro, it is what it is. Last good man in Jersey's in the building. What's good, fam?